His sudden disappearance forced the other woman to finally confront her delusions. She had lived inside a story of her own making, and every secret message, every stolen glance, every carefully chosen excuse had become evidence that his feelings for her were deeper than he dared to admit. Whenever doubt appeared, she pushed it aside with another explanation. She was afraid. He needed time. His distance meant nothing, and his silence was temporary. Then he vanished. There was no dramatic farewell, no confession, no promise that he would return. Then one evening, the messages stopped, calls went unanswered, and familiar excuses disappeared with him, simply leaving behind a silence that was far more honest than anything he had ever said. At first, she refused to accept it. His absence became another puzzle she believed she could solve. Perhaps he had lost his phone. Maybe something had happened at work. A family emergency would explain everything. Within hours, right, her imagination had constructed a dozen possibilities, and each one was designed to protect the belief that she had carried for long. None of them lasted. Days passed without a word, and the cruelest part was not knowing where he was. The cruelest part was realizing that she had spent months interpreting his behavior according to what she wanted it to mean. A late night message had felt like nothing. A compliment had sounded like devotion. His reluctance to make promises had been transformed into evidence that he was simply frightened by the intensity of his feelings. Reality had been standing in front of her all along. This man had never promised to leave his wife. He had never asked her to build a future with him. He had never made the sacrifices she secretly expected when she imagined their life together. The details had come from her, not from him. That realization hurts more than his disappearance, and she began remembering conversations she had previously dismissed. Whenever the subject of the future arose, he changed the topic. Whenever she asked what she meant to him, his answer remained vague. He enjoyed her company, so he said, and that he cared about her. Those words had once sounded romantic because she had supplied the meaning herself. Now they sounded empty. Her greatest deception had not been believing that he loved her. It had been believing that love, if it existed, would eventually become action. Outside her imagination, he had been living according to his own priorities. His responsibilities remained unchanged, and his life continued without the dramatic transformation that she expected. She had mistaken being desired for being chosen. The distinction was devastating. For the first time, she stopped checking her phone every few minutes. She stopped rereading old messages in search of hidden meanings. Photographs that had once made her smile began to look strangely ordinary. Even the places where they had met seemed different when viewed without the romantic story attached to them. There had been tenderness between them. She could admit that now. There had also been selfishness, secrecy, avoidance, and convenient affection. All these things could be true. Accepting that complexity became the beginning of her recovery. She did not need to convince herself that every moment had been fake. Doing so would only create another convenient fiction. Some memories had mattered, some feelings had been genuine, but none of that changed the central truth. He had never offered the life she wanted. His disappearance has taken away her ability to wait. Waiting had always allowed hope to survive. As long as he remained somewhere within reach, she could imagine tomorrow might bring a confession, a decision, and a change of heart. His silence removed that possibility from her daily life. There was nothing left to interpret. She finally understood that she had been waiting for a man to become someone he had never claimed to be. The admission brought shame at first, and then came relief. She had spent so much energy competing with a woman who probably knew far less about the secret relationship than she did. Anger toward another woman had been easier than admitting that the man at the center of the situation was responsible for his own choices. The woman had not stolen anything from her. No one had promised her a place that another woman had taken away. She had accepted fragments and called them a future. The truth was painful, but it was also freeing. Weeks later, when his name appeared on her screen again, she stared at it without answering. And for once, silence did not frighten her. It protected her. The old version of her would have searched for meaning in those missed calls. The woman she had become understood that meaning was unnecessary. Whatever explanation he had prepared could not change what his absence had taught her. Some endings arrive with tears, apologies, and final conversations. Others arrive quietly through an unanswered phone call and the slow collapse of a beautiful lie. She had mistaken disappearance for abandonment, and in the end, it became freedom.